Welcome to Joy for the Journey, the podcast where we explore the winding paths of purpose, faith, and joy. I'm your host, Joy, and I'm thrilled to embark on this transformative journey with you. Are you a woman seeking more than just existence and a soul yearning for fulfillment, purpose, and unwavering joy? Well, you're not alone. In this sacred space, we'll navigate the highs and lows, the doubts and triumphs, and the divine whispers guiding us toward our true calling. Through candid conversations, inspiring stories, and practical insights, Joy for the Journey is your compass, your confidant, and your catalyst for embracing the abundant life God intends for you. So if you're ready to reclaim your joy, renew your hope, and rediscover the woman God created you to be, join me on this adventure. Let's walk together step by step towards a life filled with purpose, passion, and unbridled joy. This is Joy for the Journey. Welcome aboard. Hey, it's Joy Jackson, and welcome to Joy for the Journey. I am so glad that you are here with me for this episode. And let me ask you, where you been? No, for real, like where you been? I can tell you where I've been. Nowhere. And I literally mean nowhere. And that's why it's been so hard for me to record an episode. Because if you've listened to me or you've listened to any of my podcasts, you know that my desire is to give you true, authentic, relevant topics that we are experiencing as women along this journey. And what I realized is I haven't been anywhere. I haven't done anything, haven't made any strides. I truly have been stuck. And that's a hard thing to say because we're supposed to be progressive. We're supposed to be moving. We're supposed to be making it all happen. But there are times in our lives where we absolutely feel stuck. Doesn't mean things aren't happening around you. Doesn't mean you're not doing things. Doesn't mean you're not, I'll say, accomplishing some things. But in reality, you're like a hamster on a wheel. You're running, but you don't feel like you're moving anywhere. Or better yet, my example for those of us who really wish we were working out is that you're on a treadmill. And if you think about being on a treadmill, you are burning calories, right? You are literally moving and you're shedding pounds. Your heart rate is going up, but you're still staying in one place. So although you are actually working, you're not moving. And one of the reasons I've never liked a treadmill is that reason, because I want to see progress. I want to see me moving forward. And I absolutely hate looking at the screen or the monitor on a treadmill, because although it's telling me I'm doing something, I don't feel like I'm doing anything because I'm staying in the same spot. Have you ever been like that? Or maybe you're like that right now, because that's the last couple of months. That's where I've been. And I had to go back and identify when it all started for me. And I mean, I've been stuck before, but now in this new consciousness in my journey to continue to walk according to God's plan and to be the woman that God has called me to be, I really wanted to do some deep diving into how did I get stuck this time? Yeah, I got stuck in the past, figured a way out of that thing, but how did I get stuck this time? And what I realized was after the tornadoes here in Houston, life just kind of shifted. Everything, worked out. God was protector. But in that moment, I realized, man, there are things happening around me. There are things that I need to be doing, and I don't even know where to begin. Cleanup efforts on the house, the summer with the girls, new job, my part-time job, I've told you about that. Looking at what are we going to do with speaking of joy? Who is speaking of joy? As I roll into this next year, what am I offering? What am I trying to accomplish? And when you start to pile all those things on, it can be overwhelming. And for me, when I'm overwhelmed, I shut down. Now, I eat too, but that's not another topic. But I shut down because I just don't know where to begin. And many times I find myself like, okay, God, I see all the things that you are doing for me. In fact, I even am speaking at some more engagements. I'm doing a Bible study that I'm writing with my church. Like, God is opening doors, but it's like, okay, what path should I take? I'm standing in the center and I've got all these lines coming out like, okay, do I go to the left? Do I go to the right? Okay, do I focus on this? Do I focus on that? Where do I spend my time? Where do I spend my energy? Still trying to be a wife, still trying to be a mother, still trying to be a good friend. All these things. What do I do? And I got stuck because it was just so much. Now, I will also acknowledge that the tornadoes gave me a sense of grief because I've been in Houston my whole life. I've never seen a tornado. And then to walk outside and your shed is gone, your fence is down, your roof is torn up. That's really trauma. And so I had to process that as well and grieve that. And I was really afraid because you could hear it. But I was strong for my kids and I was making sure they were okay. So I didn't get a chance to process those emotions of loss and grief. So that also did not help with me being stuck. Side note, just for free. There are things in your life that you're going to have to grieve because they're going to be the source of your healing. And so there are things, we always think that grief is only about the loss of loved ones, but we literally may have to grieve a season of our life. We may have to grieve the loss of a friendship or relationship or connection that no longer serves us. We may have to grieve the loss of a job. We may have to grieve the loss of a home. I had a friend who was moving and she was so sad about moving because that was her kid's childhood house. We may have to grieve the loss of those types of things. We may have to grieve the loss of something personal in our lives. So loss is a big deal, and we never really take time to identify that. Anytime there's a life change or there's a transition or we're starting over, that usually may mean that we're losing something. I had a conversation with a lady yesterday who is considering changing churches, and she was like, I've been in my church for 20 plus years and I just don't know how to do that. I'm afraid. That's all loss. And so I realized that part of why I was stuck was because I had not grieved the loss of some things, some people, some relationships, some old thinking, some old habits. Like there were some things that I had shed, but I had not let it go. How about that? I'd shed it, but I had not let it go. And so that's when I realized that was another contributor to why I've been stuck. So what does it mean to be stuck? Being stuck means that you are unable to move from a particular position or place, or you're unable to change a situation. So in other words, it's out of your control. And so like I said with me, when things are out of my control or spinning out of control, I find myself just standing, sitting, not moving, because I can't figure out how to get out of this place. Think about that. You're unable to move. You're unable to change something. And when you can't do that, for many of us, we just stop. So then the question becomes, okay, Joy, yeah, I hear you. It sounds pretty good, but how do I know if I'm stuck? Because I'm still doing stuff. I'm still getting up, going to work every day. I'm still cooking. I'm still cleaning. I'm still spending time with my friends, happy hours, girlfriends. I'm still taking trips. So I don't really know if I'm stuck. So here are 3 ways you will really know if you're stuck. The first one is lack of progress. It's a clear sign that you're not moving forward. So you look up, the days have passed, the weeks have passed, and there's been no change or growth. Whether it's personally, whether it's professionally, whether it's socially, you feel stagnant. And that stagnation is a manifestation of routines. And these routines become unfulfilling. You're just kind of going through the motions. No satisfaction, no major milestones. Life is just happening. And it's not bad, it's not good. It's just. The second way you know that you're stuck is because you continue to have dissatisfaction. This was me. So see, when you're really stuck, you consistently feel a sense of uneasiness, unhappiness, discontent in your life. It's those moments where you're like, I just can't put my finger on it, but something's just off. Or you're just like, yeah, life is okay, but... Or people will say, well, how you doing? Oh, I'm doing all right. And all right is just all you ever say. And this is not just like the occasional bad day. It's like a feeling that something's off. Now, let me pause and also say, July is Mental Health Month. And if you consistently find yourself feeling like something is off, it's also a great opportunity for you to talk to somebody. Y'all know I believe in therapy. So definitely an opportunity for you to talk to somebody. If you find yourself in this kind of persistent rut that you can't get out of, then I also encourage you to take the next step. But when you're really like dissatisfied just because you realize you're stuck, you'll find that you question every choice, every feeling, every idea, every situation, and you're trying to figure out why, or you're trying to figure out how come you're unfulfilled. Friend, if this is you, I'm telling you, this is a trigger and a sign that there's more and something bigger. So if you continuously find yourself dissatisfied, it's probably because you're stuck, and it's stuck because you're doing the same thing over and over and over, and there's no newness, there's no joy, there's nothing that's feeding your spirit or your soul. And then this is an interesting one. You'll know you're stuck if you do a lot of avoiding and procrastinating. And there are a lot of researchers coming out now that says procrastination is a form of a neurodivergent mindset. They also say, it's a form of ADHD, but I'm going to say that it's also a form of just being stuck. Because when you're stuck, you procrastinate or avoid taking action. And I'm not talking about tasks. I'm talking about action to change your life, action to be fulfilled again, action to do something different. You don't do that. And so you'll avoid it because there's so many reasons and so many other things. And Joy, you just don't know. I've got all these things on my plate. And if I do one more thing, I'm going to explode. I'm at capacity. I can't continue to do this. And that could also lead to feeling stuck. So I delay decisions. I put off tasks. And I'm talking tasks that could lead to my improvement. For me, working out. Shying away from new opportunities because I don't want to feel uncomfortable. And really and truly, we'll talk about this in just a little bit, but I avoid or procrastinate. A lot of times it's rooted in fear. And so I'm stuck because I am uncertain. But those are really the three reasons that I believe that many people find themselves stuck. It's really because you see you're stuck because you don't have progress, you're continuously dissatisfied, and you start to avoid and procrastinate. And if that's you, welcome home. If that's you, you're not the only woman in the world, I promise you, friend, who finds herself in a season where she's stuck. And so I really want to explore, how do we get stuck? Why are we stuck? What's happened in our lives? What's happened in a circumstance that has caused us to feel stuck? Here is why I believe we're stuck. The first one is fear of failure. I've talked about this so many times, but every single time I share this, it becomes more and more real to me. The fear of failure is paralyzing. And it is a significant barrier that keeps us between here and our goals. I believe that one of the strongest tools the enemy has is fear. And what's interesting about it is he cannot prevent us from going where we're supposed to go or doing what we're supposed to do or having what God has promised us or being who God has called us. He cannot prevent us. But he can almost do like a funhouse mirror. He can put up so many things around you that everything looks so distorted that you're like, this can't be me. This can't be what's happening. And so when you see those images or you see that outcome, you're like, this isn't what I asked for. This isn't what I wanted. And so you do nothing. I mean, think about that. You do nothing because you are afraid. And fear will cause you to stand still. Think about it like this. Have you ever been afraid of something? Is there people are afraid of, dogs or roaches or cats or snakes? When you come face to face with something that you're afraid of, what is your natural tendency? To stand still. Because if I stand still, it'll go away. If I stand still, it won't bother me. It won't attack me. And that's the way we live our lives in a season of fear. And so if I just stand here, then I can't be hurt. I'm protected. And really, fear isn't just about not succeeding. It's not just about not succeeding. Fear for us has become a daily practice of how we show up, of what we expect, of how we live. I mean, fear is a debilitating disease. Fear will keep us from doing anything, being anything, having anything. It will keep us from asking for help. It'll keep us from starting that new job. It'll keep us from leaving that relationship. It'll keep us from finding the joy we want. It'll keep us from asking for the raise we deserve. It'll keep us from going to therapy. It will keep us from, fear will paralyze us. And if we're not careful, and this is true for me, fear will involve worrying about others' opinions if we fall short. And what's really funny is they're afraid too. We all out here afraid. But fear will cause us to worry about other people's opinions so much that we don't do anything. So we don't take risks, we don't grow, we just stay. And that's one of the biggest reasons I believe that many of us are stuck. Another reason I think many of us are stuck is because we lack clarity. Y'all know, speaking of joy is all about finding clarity. And I'm going to pause, as I always do, and say, in order to understand what the manufacturer used and why the manufacturer designed anything, you got to read the manual and you got to know the manufacturer. You got to do the research. So I'm just really saying, in order for you to really get clarity, you've got to seek God. In order to really get clarity, you've got to spend time in the Word of God. Let me just say that. There is not a coach. There is not a therapist. There is not anyone who can give you some of the answers you need without spending time with God. There, I said it. Not knocking any of it. All of us are necessary. Coaches, therapists, self-help books, all of that is really necessary. But clarity, true clarity, comes from God. And so sometimes we're stuck and we can't move because we don't know where to go. That sounds so simple, but you really don't know where to go. What is it? Red pill, blue pill? So you don't know which one to take because both of them may either look attractive or both of them may look really kind of like, ooh. But either way, we don't know where to go. And because we don't know where to go, we choose to go nowhere. Y'all remember back in the day, I'm going to tell my age. Y'all remember back in the day, we didn't always have GPS. And I'm talking even before the days of MapQuest. Hello, my 40-year-old plus. Even before MapQuest and even before cell phones, you would have to call somebody and say, hey, I'm leaving my house and I'm on my way to your house. Tell me how to get there. And then they would say, you're going to do this. And that was back in the day when we talked through landmarks. So we would say things like, now, if you go to the stop and go, you've gone too far. Or when you get to that stop sign, you're going to see a church on the left, turn right. That kind of stuff. Remember that? So we didn't have a map, but we still had instructions. And so we knew where to go because we had instructions. Of course, now we got, GPS, rerouting, turn left, make a U-turn. All of that. But prior to that, we may not have known directly how to get there, but we had the instruction. And then if we got off course, we would be like, well, I didn't see a church. And we would pull over and call, right? But it gave us clarity. And I really believe that we had better sense of direction then because we were paying attention. Like now I ride on autopilot and I let, the GPS tell me everywhere to go. Even when I know where to go, I'm going to look up to see what she tells me because we've become so dependent on it. And so because we've become so dependent on having all the answers and we've become so dependent on having automatic guide, when it comes to our life, it's not always like that. When it comes to our life, there are times that it is not that easy, that simple, and we don't have all of the map. And so then we begin to panic because I don't know what's next. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I don't know where I'm supposed to go. I'm just literally stuck. And so for many of us, the idea of taking a step without having clear direction, we ain't doing it. No, thank you. I need to know all the pieces, every step that I need to take. I need to know every little step, like Bobby Brown. Yeah. That's what we want. And if we don't have the entire picture, because now if you think about it, back to the map analogy, when you go into GPS and you type in an address, it gives you the entire route. And it's going to guide you along the way. But the first image you see is of the entire route. So now you're like, okay, I see kind of where I'm going. That's not real life. In real life, you won't get the whole map. In real life, sometimes God is saying, I just need you to take the step. What is the step? The first one. And then I'm going to show you what all the other steps are. Or I may just show you the next step. But we're so inclined. TV guide. We can click on the guide on our TVs. And I said TV guide. Remember that old school? but I'm talking in the newspaper. But even with the TV, when I go to guide, I can look at what's coming out or what's coming up or what's coming next. So we have been now conditioned, always expect to have all the answers and everything to be laid out for us. So many of us are stuck in our lives because that's not what happens. But I encourage you, makes the journey a whole lot better when you trust in God for direction. And then the last one, this is one I think every woman can experience. We're overwhelmed. We are juggling so much. Careers, family, social obligations, personal care. We want to be able to travel. We want to be able to post on social media. We want to be able to have Sunday fun day. We want to be able to renovate our homes. We want to be able to plan for the kids' college. We want to be able to still be a sexy woman and date our partners. We want to be active in church. We want to climb the corporate ladder. I mean, we are all doing so very much. And sometimes trying to manage everything means we do nothing. And you know why? Have you ever felt like this? That you're in catch-up mode. Oh, I talk to clients all the time and they're like, I've got so much going on. I just never feel like I can catch up. It's because we're overwhelmed from trying to manage all of these things. Because all of these things give us meaning. And if I'm filling my basket with all of this stuff, it gets heavier and it's harder for me to carry. Until one day, either the bottom of the bag or the bottom of the basket falls out, or I just drop it, or it tumbles over, or whatever the case may be. And many of us, that's when we really say, I realize I'm stuck. I realize I'm doing too much, is when the basket is overflowing or the bottom is falling out. And I don't want that for you. I don't want the bottom to fall out before you realize it's too much. And so even when we're playing catch up, even when we're trying to figure it out, we leave very little space for our progress and our goals. We ain't got time for that. I don't have time to sit and dream, Joy. I don't have time to sit and plan, Joy. I don't have time to figure out what my purpose is or what I'm doing in the next 20 years. I don't have time to do that because I'm only focused in the right now, and the right now is whipping my butt. I want to challenge you if you're that woman like I have been. I told you when we first started this podcast, I told you that's kind of where I've been. Here's a quick way to relieve some of that overwhelm. You don't have to do it all. I got 10-year-olds who need to be cleaning this kitchen. I got a husband who can figure out what we're going to eat for dinner. Are ways that I can fill myself with the things that matter and release some things to other people. You know what that word's called? Drum roll. Delegation. We'll talk about that in another episode. But some of us are stuck because we're doing too much, trying to hold on too much, instead of saying, you know what, I have resources. Many of us never want to ask for help. And then we're crying to the Lord, why isn't nobody hearing? Nobody, bad language. Why isn't anybody hearing me? Why aren't you taking this away from me? And God is like, I sent you help. I'm not coming down from heaven to take this off of your plate. I've sent you help in the form of an assistant, in the form of a girlfriend who's walking this journey with you, in the form of a release, but you continue to hold on to it. And then you're blaming God for it, and God isn't doing anything for me, and I'm just stuck. No, some of us have put ourselves in that situation. So what are you saying, Joy? I'm saying being stuck is real. I'm saying that being stuck is something that all of us experience. I'm saying that being stuck is natural. I'm also saying that being unstuck is something that you can do. So I'm going to give them to you really quickly here, but I'm going to invite you to come back next week as we finish this conversation. Y'all know I don't like the podcast to be super long, and so I'm going to wrap it up really quickly, but I'm going to give you 3 quick things you can do to begin to become unstuck. So here they are really quickly. The first one is you're going to reflect. Literally think about how you got here. The next one is reposition. All you've got to do is do it different, meaning if I've been sitting, it's time for me to stand. If I've not taken a step, it's time for me to take a step. If I've been doubting, then I've got to change in my thoughts. And I know we got to talk about that more, but just understand reposition. And then the last one is restart. This one came to me this morning before I recorded this because I've still been redefining who the woman is that Speaking of Joy works with. And I've said the woman is safe, the woman is stuck, the woman is scared. But then I also realized that the woman is restarting. So if that's you, maybe you're home. So continue to pray about being unstuck. Continue to pray about what's next and what God wants for you in this season. And then join me next week as we continue this conversation about how to become unstuck and then the steps we need to take so that we can begin to walk in the purpose that God has for our lives. I'll talk to you soon. Welcome to Joy for the Journey, the podcast where we explore the winding paths of purpose, faith, and joy. I'm your host, Joy, and I'm thrilled to embark on this transformative journey with you. Are you a woman seeking more than just existence and a soul yearning for fulfillment, purpose, and unwavering joy? Well, you're not alone. In this sacred space, we'll navigate the highs and lows, the doubts and triumphs, and the divine whispers guiding us toward our true calling. Through candid conversations, inspiring stories, and practical insights, Joy for the Journey is your compass, your confidant, and your catalyst for embracing the abundant life God intends for you. So if you're ready to reclaim your joy, renew your hope, and rediscover the woman God created you to be, join me on this adventure. Let's walk together step by step towards a life filled with purpose, passion, and unbridled joy. This is Joy for the Journey. Welcome aboard.